So when I was thinking about coming here, I looked at the diversity of people that are on the attendee list. And I figured we are all coming here to figure out how cartography and technology come together for our own purposes. And I realized that maps are a part of everyone's life. We've been using maps to annotate our world from our earliest memories. And we've used maps collectively to tell the stories of hunting paths or war victories for as long as we can remember. But the problem with maps is, like childhood memories, maps fade with time. They're not dynamic, and they're very expensive to create. So we make all this investment in creating a map, and what tends to happen is it no longer becomes relevant. It goes from personal to historical. Dynamic maps are special because they take the expensive static information and attach markup to create something that's relevant to a certain community, a real explosion of relevant content. But we can't take those dynamic maps out into the world, at least the way that I think we're eventually going to do it. The conjunction of minification, user expectation, and Moore's law hasn't happened. But I think these devices fundamentally change things. I think they reset user expectations. Certainly they have broad-based user adoption. And the most important thing is they're mobile. And if maps are about anything, they're about getting out in the world. Now, right now, Android and iPhone completely dominate this space. They don't dominate this space in units sold, but they dominate this space in usage. I know a lot of people that can't be separated from their iPhone. I think sociologically that's kind of sad, but economically that's a huge opportunity. But these are not homogeneous platforms. Even in Apple's vertical market, you see significant fragmentation in the capabilities of the devices. So for instance, the original iPhone and the 3G don't have a compass. And Android fragmentation is a whole different ballgame. Lots of different OSs in the wild, lots of different platforms. These are real developer challenges. I think Google's eventually going to get a handle on this, but they certainly don't have it now. So in October, I went to ISMAR to see how other people are doing neat stuff with geolocation with these challenges. I met the people who are building the AR browsers and the academics who are building what's next. And to me, AR browsers were sexy. It's a super simple idea. Basically, you're adding meta information over the camera to create this really visceral and dynamic experience that really connects with the user. For me, I chose Layer. I liked Layer because they were able to deploy to multiple different operating systems. They could deploy to all the Android devices, and they could deploy to the iPhone GS. They could not deploy to the iPhone and the iPhone G because that lacked a compass. But the cool thing about Layer was the layer in Layer. Layer didn't silo the information. Rather, they acted as a proxy so my users could get to me. And I'm the one who can provide the most relevant content to my user. So right away, I started to build applications on Layer and send it out to my user community. And I was surprised to find that while my users thought that augmented reality was super sexy at the beginning and had some real problems. And that was really disappointing. So I've had a lot of deployments and really listened to my users and heard what they said. And what they said was they love maps. Now, nothing confuses a geek more than when their user says, "We really like the simple solution." You know, my users want contextual, small data sets that they can use on their phone. Well, that's easy, but it's not really out there, so I thought about building my own channel. And for me, a channel is an application. It's something that separates me from the stuff I want to know. And of course, the channel that was sexy at the time was native applications. But native applications have a lot of challenges. First, they take a long time to install. And you get all kinds of places where you can get hung up. You can get trolls on your reviews. You can have problems with connectivity during downloads. And your user can learn not to love you. And if your user doesn't love you, you're toast. We are all competing for our users' mind share. And it only takes 3 steps to delete an application. And once we're deleted, we're not likely getting back. So I started to think about ways in which we could deploy applications that were immutable. Immutable is nerd speak for can't be deleted. And like these folks, I figured out that WebKit is on 96% of the browsers, and 100% of these phones can do SMS, MMS, and phone services. So I started to build applications around that architecture. There's no way I can explain it, but I'm super excited to talk to the people that are here, that are working in this environment, so I can share what I've learned and hear what you've learned as well. Thank you for your time. Have a great conference.